The elevator doors are open. A young woman steps inside. She is wearing a red hoodie and black shorts. She presses the buttons, several of them, floor after floor. The doors do not close. She steps out of the elevator entirely. She presses herself against the wall beside the door frame. She looks down the hallway. She looks back. Her hands begin to move. Not waving, not signaling, just moving. In patterns, deliberate patterns, as if she is speaking to something the camera cannot see. That footage was released by the Los Angeles Police Department on February 13, 2013. It has been watched hundreds of millions of times. It has never been fully explained. 19 days after that footage was filmed, hotel guests at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles began complaining. The water pressure was low. The water tasted strange. Maintenance staff climbed to the roof to check the water tanks. Inside one of the tanks, floating face up, was Elisa Lam. She had been in the water for 19 days.
Welcome to ExploricaGlobal, where we uncover the stories the world overlooked.
The Cecil Hotel opened on December 20th, 1924. It cost $1 million to build. Marble lobby, stained glass windows, designed for business travelers and social elites. Within a decade, the Great Depression had turned the neighborhood around it into Skid Row. The hotel never recovered. Over the following decades, the Cecil became something that has no polite name, a place where bodies turned up. The first recorded suicide was in 1927, the same year it opened. By the end of the 1930s, 6 people had jumped from its windows, shot themselves in their rooms, or swallowed poison in its hallways. In 1962, a woman named Pauline Oten jumped from the 9th floor. She landed on a 65-year-old man named George Giannini, who was walking by on the sidewalk below. She killed him. Investigators noted that Giannini was still wearing his shoes, which should have been impossible if the impact that killed him was the fall. The case was closed without explanation. In 1964, a woman known around the neighborhood as the Pigeon Lady, Goldie Osgood, was found raped, robbed, and strangled in her room. A suspect was found nearby, covered in blood. He was later cleared. Her killer was never convicted. In the mid-'80s, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, paid $14 a night to stay on the top floor while he committed 14 murders across Southern California. He returned after each killing, dropping his bloody clothes in the dumpster out back, walking through the lobby in his blood-stained underwear. Nobody said anything, because this was the Cecil. In 1991, Austrian serial killer Jack Unterweger checked in specifically because Ramirez had stayed there. He brought 3 women back to his room during his 5-week stay. He strangled each of them with their own bra. He was convicted in Austria in 1994. That is the hotel Elisa Lam checked into on January 26, 2013. A 21-year-old student from Vancouver, a solo trip through California, a budget hotel in downtown Los Angeles with a century of death inside its walls. She checked in on a Saturday. She was gone by Thursday. And the footage of what happened in between has haunted the internet ever since. Elisa Lam was 21 years old. She was a student at the University of British Columbia. Her family had emigrated from Hong Kong and ran a restaurant in Burnaby. She kept a Tumblr blog. She wrote about books, about loneliness, about wanting to understand the world. She was funny and self-aware, and sometimes dark in the way that 21-year-olds are allowed to be. She had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. She took medication to manage it. She was not defined by it. In January 2013, She set out on a solo trip through California. She visited San Diego. She explored bookstores. She planned to end the trip in Santa Cruz. She called her parents every day. She checked in to the Cecil on January 26th. She was initially placed in a shared room. Within 2 days, her roommates had complained about her behavior. The hotel moved her to a private room. The hotel manager later described Elisa leaving notes for her roommates that said, "Go home," and "Go away." She had required a password for entry to the room. A few days before her disappearance, she attended a live taping of the Conan O'Brien show in Burbank. Security removed her from the premises for disruptive behavior. On January 31st, the day she was scheduled to check out and travel to Santa Cruz, her parents did not hear from her. They called the LAPD. The last person who saw her was Katie Orphan, the manager of the Last Bookstore on Spring Street. She told CNN she was outgoing, very lively, very friendly, talking about what book she was getting and whether or not what she was getting would be too heavy for her to carry around as she traveled. That was January 31st. She was never seen again. Her wallet, her ID, and her laptop were still in her room. Her cell phone was never found.
The police searched the hotel. They searched Lam's room. They brought dogs through the building, including the rooftop. The dogs found nothing. 13 days passed with no trace. Then an LAPD detective made a decision that would change everything. He released the elevator footage to the public.
On February 13, 2013, the LAPD released 4 minutes of elevator security footage from the Cecil Hotel. The internet did not sleep for 3 days. Here is what the footage shows. Elisa Lam enters the elevator alone. She presses multiple floor buttons. She waits. The doors do not close. She steps out into the hallway, looks left, looks right, comes back in. The doors still do not close. She steps out again, presses herself against the wall beside the door frame, and looks down the hallway at something or someone the camera cannot see. Then her hands begin to move. Investigators, psychologists, and millions of internet users have analyzed those hand movements frame by frame for over a decade. The theories range from the mundane to the supernatural. Here are the questions the footage raises that have never been definitively answered. 1. The doors. The elevator doors stay open for an extraordinarily long time. The official explanation is that Lam pressed the door hold button, which keeps doors open for 2 minutes. This is plausible. It does not explain the full duration. 2. The timestamp. Multiple analysts noted that the timestamp at the bottom of the footage appears to skip forward at one point, as if a section of footage was removed. The LAPD never addressed this publicly. 3. The mouth. At several moments when Lam appears to be speaking or vocalizing, the footage is pixelated directly over her mouth. The LAPD stated this was standard blurring to protect a witness. Witnesses noted that no other part of the footage was blurred. 4. Who is she looking at? Every behavioral analyst who reviewed the footage noted that Lam's body language, pressing against the wall, looking down the hallway, the specific angle of her gaze is consistent with someone who believes they are being followed. There was no one else in the hallway. No other person was ever captured on elevator footage that night. Clinical psychologist Dr. Judy Ho, who reviewed the footage for the 2021 Netflix documentary, stated that the behaviors visible were consistent with a psychotic episode and disorganized thinking associated with severe bipolar I disorder. Elisa Lam's toxicology report found only trace amounts of her prescribed medications in her system: Wellbutrin, lamotrigine, and quetiapine. No alcohol, no illicit drugs. The very low levels suggested she had recently stopped taking her stabilizing medications. On the morning of February 19, 2013, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez climbed to the roof of the Cecil Hotel in response to guest complaints about water pressure and a strange taste in the taps. He found Elisa Lam's body inside one of 4 1,000-gallon water tanks. She was floating face up. She was naked. Her clothes, the red hoodie and black shorts from the elevator footage, were in the water beside her. The tank had to be drained and cut open because the maintenance hatch was too small to remove her body. The LA County coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning with bipolar disorder as a significant contributing factor. No evidence of physical trauma, no evidence of sexual assault, no evidence of suicide. The lead investigator, Detective Wallace Tennelle, stated in a 2015 deposition, "My opinion is that she fell off her medication, and in her state, she happened to find her way onto the roof, got into the tank of water. My partner and I tried to figure out how somebody could have put her in there, and it is difficult for someone to have been able to do that and not leave prints, not leave DNA or anything like that." That is the official conclusion. Here are the 5 physical facts that the official conclusion has never fully accounted for. 1. The roof access. The doors and stairs that accessed the hotel's roof were locked. Only staff had the passcodes and keys. Any attempt to force them would supposedly have triggered an alarm. No alarm was triggered. The only other route to the roof was a fire escape. Police lost Lam's scent near a window that connected to it. 2. The tank platform. The 4 water tanks were propped on concrete blocks. There was no fixed access to the top of them. Hotel workers used a portable ladder to inspect the water. Elisa Lam would have needed to find and use that ladder in the dark, while in a state that impaired her judgment, having climbed to the roof in an unknown manner. 3. The lid. The tanks were protected by heavy metal lids. One report placed the lid weight at approximately 20 pounds. The maintenance worker who found Lam's body stated the lid was open when he discovered her. An LAPD spokesperson stated on camera at the time that he believed the lid was closed. This contradiction has never been officially resolved. 4. The clothing. Elisa Lam was found naked. Her clothes were in the tank beside her. No explanation for why she removed her clothing inside the tank has ever been officially offered. Some forensic analysts have suggested a drowning victim may remove clothing in a state of confusion. Others have noted the clothing showed no sign of having been cut or torn. 5. The dogs. Police search dogs went through the entire Cecil Hotel, including the rooftop, in the days immediately following Lam's disappearance. They found no trace of her. Elisa Lam's body was in the water tank on that rooftop. The dogs did not detect her.
The case is closed. The hotel is closed. Elisa Lam's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Cecil in 2013. It was dismissed in 2015. A judge ruled the hotel could not have reasonably foreseen that a guest would access a locked rooftop and enter a water tank. The Lam family received no compensation. No explanation was ever provided.
The case of Elisa Lam has inspired a Netflix documentary, a Korean horror film, a video game, an episode of American Horror Story, and hundreds of millions of online posts. Most of them agree on one thing. The footage does not feel like an ending. It feels like the beginning of a question that was never fully asked. Here is what I keep coming back to. Elisa Lam called her parents every single day of her trip. She was meticulous about it. She was buying gifts to take home to her family. She was worried about whether her bag would be too heavy to carry. She was a person, not a mystery, not a cipher, not a piece of viral content. She had bipolar disorder. She was traveling alone in a city she did not know. She may have stopped taking her medication. These things are real and they matter, and they can explain some of what the footage shows. They do not explain all of it. The tuberculosis test being conducted in the area around the Cecil Hotel at the time of her death was named LAM-ELISA. The name was a coincidence. It has been confirmed as a coincidence. And still, of all the places in Los Angeles, of all the hotels, of all the weeks of the year, that test was being run 1 mile from the Cecil Hotel while Elisa Lam's body floated in its water tank. Some stories resist clean endings, not because the ending is hidden, but because the ending is true, and truth sometimes is the most unsatisfying thing of all.
Like and subscribe to Explorica Global for more.